Hey guys, it's Kim. So I just had to take kind of a long car trip to go to a doctor's appointment, and it gave me a really great idea for a video that I wanted to do. And I wanted to talk to you guys about using spirit and energy work to overcome some of your fears and phobias, because it can be really effective and an excellent way to treat some of these things that might be plaguing you in your everyday life. So the reason that this came up for me is because I have this horrible fear of driving. I really don't like to do it. I avoid it whenever I possibly can. I've gotten in, a few fender benders here and there just because it doesn't come naturally to me whatsoever. I mean, the first time I got in a car, it was pretty clear. It's just something that I really, really don't like, and it can give me. I've gotten panic attacks, full-on panic attacks at some points when I'm driving, which obviously can be very dangerous. When I'm in extremely stressful situations, it is one of my absolute biggest fears. But, you know, we're in the 21st century. Need to be able to drive, even if I do live in a city at some point in my life. It's, a skill that I need to be able to have, and I can't just hide in my room and decide that I'm going to ride a horse everywhere as much as I wish that I could. So, I went through a long process of trying to figure out how to minimize this fear because I think in many situations, the higher your fear level is and the higher your anxiety level is, the more likely you're going to have issues with what you're anxious about. That's just the way that it is, and it's so unfortunate because that just seems unfair. So, I read a lot of books. I, practiced driving with other people in the car as much as I could. I did a lot of different things, but I just wasn't ever getting to a point where I'm comfortable. So I decided to turn it into a spiritual journey for me, which was turned out to be a really awesome experience. So basically, what I did was I started out with just doing some spirit work outside of the car. I started, very separated from the issue itself. Started taking some time, a few times a week when I had the time to really sit, put myself mentally in a car and go through some really safe and successful driving situations in my mind. Fill myself with positive energy and positive notions of, okay, I can do this, watch me do this. Almost like putting muscle memory into my body of, I'm experiencing this, yes, in my head, but I'm experiencing this in a really positive way, sending positive energy out, putting it into the universe. I'm a safe driver. I will be safe in the car and nothing's going to happen to me. It's going to be okay. And getting myself kind of ready and preparing myself to keeping that mindset when I'm in the car, because I think in any situation that you're in that scares you or makes you anxious, if you can stay calm and stay really focused and prepared on what's going on, it's going to be so much better. So that's where I started with it. Then when I got in the car, it was, a whole nother process of, okay, now I'm actually doing this, and I really need to stay focused. And, every time I drive, I just take a moment and I ask my spirit guides and guardians to come to me, stay with me, keep me safe, because that is something that makes me feel incredibly secure. And when I call them in, it's almost like opening sacred space in my car every time I drive it. So for the rest of the drive, I'm in sacred space. I feel protected. I feel my spirit guides and guardians. I feel my deities. I just feel connected to everything, which turns out worked really well for me because of this connection I was feeling, allowed me to have a better sense of my physical placement, like in the car. I think a really strong thing that you need to have while driving is this sense of like where you are and what's going on around you. It's almost like you have to become your car and what's going around. I'm sure most of you know this, but this was kind of news to me. um, because it wasn't something that came naturally to me. I felt like one person in this giant machine that I had no idea how to handle. So by taking the time to become connected to my spirit guides and guardians, I connected myself to the car, and I was able to almost push out my energy field to where it was surrounding me and the car. And all of a sudden, I had this much better sense of what was going on around me. I, you know, and so now where I am now, I have a really good sense of, cars coming past me. I don't get freaked out by big trucks coming by me because I just have this energy field full of positive energy and light and love in real intense focus because of the sacred space that I've opened up and the place that I've put myself into. And by expanding this, I feel a lot safer because I can feel based on all of my senses and also just my spirit sense, where cars are coming from, what's going on in the road. I used to be really, really focused on, what was happening in front of me. So if something, kind of crazy happened over here, it would freak me out and I might swerve and, it could be potentially very dangerous. I was lucky that nothing like that ever happened. But that kind of stuff doesn't happen to me now because I allowed myself to turn my fear into a spiritual journey. And that's kind of the point of this whole video. If you have any kind of fears or phobias that are really holding you back, you can really do a lot with it if you take it onto your spiritual path. First of all, it gives you a great opportunity to just do more work on your spiritual body, connect to your guides and guardians more, which I think is important for all of us and is a great opportunity. Well, I can almost guarantee it will make you just a happier, lighter person in general. And second of all, it can be a really effective way of dealing with fears and phobias. So let's say you have a social anxiety, being in really big groups of people scares you. If you go through the same process that I did, while you're by yourself, so in a very safe place for a person with social anxiety, you put yourself in the mindset of being in a big crowd and you prepare yourself for that and you visualize really positive scenarios of not being afraid of, being really social and having a great time and not feeling judged or invisible or whatever it is that might be a specific fear for someone with social anxiety. Then they can start moving into bigger and bigger crowds, experiencing these feelings, and then opening up sacred space where they are in these things. Even if sacred space is just their personal bubble or just in their body. I open sacred space inside my body all the time because, we are just all tiny molecules vibrating at incredible speeds. There's a lot of space in us, in everything. So you can open sacred space absolutely, literally just within your body and keep you safe and keep your guardians there if that helps you. And it's an awesome thing. You feel protected, you feel connected, and I always feel a lot more aware rather than focusing on my fear. I just kind of get this calm over me and I feel very aware of everything that's going on. And I think in facing a phobia, things can get really blown out of proportion or unbalanced in terms of how you're seeing things. So when you have this greater vision of what's going on and you're just very aware of exactly how everything is very calmly, then your fear can really, really recede and you have the opportunity to work on what's happening. Have some positive experiences in place of these anxious and fear-ridden ones, and it can really make a huge difference. So I am still not incredibly comfortable in my car, but I no longer have this like incredible feeling of dread every time that I have to get into it. And that was a huge step for me. And this is something that I will continue to work on and something that I will continue to use in my situations with a car and in any situation because I've learned that turning my fear into like a spiritual hurdle is something that has worked incredibly well for me. It's a great motivator. It helps me feel safe and connected, and I really trust in my ability to work with this energy and work with my spirit and make things better. So I hope that this works for you guys. I really encourage you to try it. If the methods that maybe I listed here don't work for you, I encourage you to think of maybe another way that you could spiritually deal with situations that give you fear and anxiety, because I can tell you from experience, it really made a huge difference for me. So I hope this was interesting to you guys. I'm sure I'll be making another video very soon. I love you all very much. Blessed be and namaste. Thank you.